coronaviruses have never been amenable to vaccination. And we've seen this as the pandemic's gone along. Here we are 3 years later. The shots that some people sadly are still mandating are expired because the variants of the virus, the Wuhan virus variant, went extinct over 2 years ago. The BA4, BA5 variants in the bivalents, those are essentially extinct as well. So we now have expired shots for extinct viruses. And if you look at the history of coronaviruses across mammalian species, there are 40 plus species or subspecies of coronaviruses in the coronavirus family that affect cows and pigs and dogs and cats and et cetera, et cetera. But we've never really had a successful coronavirus vaccine because this family mutates ahead of our efforts. And when that happens, there's a condition called antibody-dependent enhancement. So everybody talks about antibodies. Well, a good antibody is your friend. And so grandma had measles 85 years ago, and grandma's still immune to measles because there are portions of that virus that stay the same for eons. Other virus families mutate differently. So there's a reason that Anthony Fauci's holy grail of vaccines and HIV vaccine never occurred because it also has a spike protein of a different type. But 40 years later, there's still not an HIV vaccine because it mutates ahead of vaccinal efforts. Coronaviruses do the same thing. They're constantly mutating point by point by point, an addition, a deletion, an addition, deletion, which changes the shape of the protein, which changes the sugars that stick to it, which changes the ability of those antibodies to work in the way that they should. So if they bind to the virus and then, their little tail on the antibody, everybody knows the Y shape of an antibody now. So if that antibody binds and what we call neutralizes or sterilizes, then the body comes and gobbles up the virus it's bound to. Hooray, virus cleared. But if it binds to it and doesn't turn off, then your little garbage truck cells, your Pac-Man cells, they come in and then they engulf it. They don't neutralize it. Now the virus uses your own immune cells as a factory as well. And then you end up with even more cytokines and even more inflammation. So it Trojan horses itself into your immune system. That's a bad thing. This happened with the dengue fever vaccines in the Philippines back in 2017. And so one serotype of dengue fever, they vaccinated, and then the next season along comes dengue season, and the children that got vaccinated ended up with more hospitalization and more death the next season. So this is the same thing. Hotez, who's one of the godfathers of vaccinology, he testified in Congress back in March of 20 or April of 20, and saying, "Look, this is a gamble that we're trying here because it's known in coronavirus families that we can have these enhancement reactions. That's why we never had a SARS-CoV-1 vaccine. It never got out of mammal trials because of this risk and the amount of damage caused in mice and ferrets, et cetera. Same thing with MERS trials." And we knew going into this, approaching a coronavirus with a vaccine was a scientifically inept idea from day one.